Okay, thank you all for joining us today. My name is Leslie Baxter. I'm the Outreach Coordinator at the Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research. I want to thank Susan D'Agostino for joining us for our Mindfulness and Meditation series. Thank you all for being here. And also a quick thank you to our sponsor, Mallinckrodt Pharmaceuticals, that you'll see here. So with that, I will let Susan take it away. It might just be a quick minute until I stop sharing my screen. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Leslie. Hi, everybody. It's 4 o'clock here in Eastern time in Miami. I know we're kind of all on different times. So really, I was kind of just talking to Leslie about, wow, I wonder what kind of attendance we're going to have but it's nice to see all of you. So it's great to be here. My name's Susan. I'm a retired registered nurse, and I'm also a certified mindfulness and meditation instructor. And I also do teach some beginners Qigong. Some of you, I think I recognize your names from previous classes. So thanks for being here again. Just kind of a reminder, everybody, on the FSR web page, we do have a mindfulness and meditation series, a 4-part series that's always up. So anytime you want to go and do a little meditation or talk about mindfulness, it's always there. With Mindy, we did kind of a little bit of a survey, I believe, what were most people wanting to do with mindfulness and meditation. We did do one on stress, but there was a repeat ask for stress. And then in August, we're going to do some mindfulness and meditation for pain relief. So that'll be August. I guess Leslie will give that time frame when we're at the end. So today we're going to talk a little bit about stress. Almost any meditation you would do is going to elicit the response, the stress response or relaxation stress for stress. So basically this will be one, but almost any mindfulness meditation you would do would elicit that response to, combat stress. And when we talk about stress, I'll talk a little bit about stress, and then we'll do a little mindful moment. When we talk about stress, basically we're talking about, and I'm looking off to a screen because I have some slides there also to kind of guide me. We talk about the fight, flight, or freeze response in the body when we talk about stress. Now, this response occurs with any type of stress. And really, when you have a disease, and especially something like sarcoid, you're almost always eliciting this kind of response, whether it's because you're stressed out about doctor's appointments, the actual disease, what's going on in your body, whatever it might be, anxiety, fears. There's a million reasons you could elicit this stress response in the body. So just to get started just for a moment, before we really start talking too much about this, let's just what I would like everybody to do is just maybe get comfortable in their chair. And we're going to just do what we call a mindful moment, just to kind of bring us into the practice. So I'd like you to get comfortable, maybe your feet, grounded on the floor, your hands at your thighs. They can be, your palms down or palms up, whichever way you like, and just kind of, get into a comfortable position. And what I'd like you to do right now is I just invite you to close your eyes for a moment. This is not going to be very long. It's going to be what we call a mindful moment. And I'd just like you to take a slow, deep inhale and exhale. If you don't want to close your eyes, that's okay too. You can, keep them open. If possible, take a downward gaze. Don't be looking at the room and any distractions. So just take a nice, long, slow, deep breath in and out. I'd like you to just concentrate on what that feels like. Basically, bring your full attention to the sensation of the inhale and the exhale. You might feel a little coolness as you inhale, a little warmth as you exhale. And basically what we're doing here is just taking what we call a mindful breath. We're kind of just paying attention to what the breath feels like. So let's just do that a couple moments, a couple breaths. Deep inhale and exhale out. Okay, so if you have your eyes open right now, that's great. If not, go ahead and open your eyes slowly. So that's basically what we just call a mindful moment, just paying attention to the breath. And I always tell people that this is always available to you at any given moment. If you're feeling stressed, if you're having an argument, it's basically like taking a pause. And that just in itself, that minute elicits that relaxation response to stress. And believe it or not, then you have all kinds of changes in the body, even in that moment. So what happens when we have stress? We create a lot of things. We create adrenaline, cortisol, and these are, chemicals that the body normally has, but we don't want to create large amounts of it because it creates other problems, So when you have a stress response, what happens usually? Your pupils will dilate, your heart rate goes up, you have faster and deeper breathing, which means more oxygen consumption. So in pulmonary sarcoid, that's really relevant. Your blood pressure goes up. You have increased blood flow to large muscle groups. Digestion slows down. Like I said, blood pressure increases. So the fight or flight response could be a great thing, and that was what the caveman always did when they had a fight or flight response, when you had to get away from the bear, the dinosaur, or whatever. But none of us are running away from bears and dinosaurs anymore. So we have an overreaction to stress sometimes that we need to learn how to manage. And that's what we try to do with mindfulness and meditation. So basically what mindfulness is just bringing you back to that moment, to that mindful moment, so that you're not feeling this overwhelming stress response, with all the bad things that could happen, adrenaline and cortisol reacting through the body. And so we want to elicit the relaxation response, which would calm all these things down. You have decreased O2 consumption, your heart rate's normal, your blood pressure's normal, you're more responsive, less reactive. So those are the things we try to do with learning, not only the mindful breath, which helps in an acute situation, something going on right at this moment, but then also using mindfulness and meditation as a daily practice. So when we have a fight or flight response, we're activating a part of the brain called the amygdala, which then activates the central nervous system, what is known as the parasympathetic nervous system or the sympathetic nervous system. What we want to do in most of life is try to activate the parasympathetic system, and that means slowing down basically, versus the sympathetic nervous system, which means speeding up. So why do some of us have, when we have a stress response, and a lot of people have like GI discomfort. Oh, my stomach's bothering me. They might have diarrhea, constipation, different things. So one of the reasons that happens is that we have a nerve, it's called the cranial nerve 10, and that's called the vagus nerve, that runs from the brainstem all the way down the body through to the digestive system. So when you activate that vagus nerve in a stress response, what's happening? Again, it's all physiological in nature. So what we try to, again, learn and teach people when they do meditation is how to deactivate or slow down some of these systems that we're constantly activating that really are doing us harm over the long term. So in sarcoidosis, obviously all of us know that sarcoidosis is an immune-mediated response to what? We still don't know. That's the big question with sarcoid. But we want to try to learn how to be able to respond more positively versus reactively when we have stress. So that is the importance of managing stress with sarcoid or with any disease, really. When you have a nervous system disease, when you have heart disease, when you have lung disease, when you have sarcoid, almost every single disease, if you think about it, is going to be affected by this overreactive stress response. So learning how to manage stress is really key in the long term for disease management. So that's a very important concept to know. And I think sometimes knowing why we do the things we do is going to help us do more. I mean, why do we exercise? We exercise. Why do we do, why do we practice lifestyle, factors like diet? Because we want to lose weight, we want to feel better, but the reasons are important why we're doing these things. So if you want to learn more about the stress response, I mean, I don't remember, you'd have to go back on the 4-part series. We did a whole hour on it. So there's a lot more physiology on there that I'm really going to go through today. So now what I'd like to do is really was the whole focus of having these mindfulness and meditation hours was to do a mindfulness and meditation practice. And today we're going to do something called the 5 senses meditation. This is a great meditation. I love to do it because it really teaches people how to focus on the 5 senses. Sometimes we forget we have 5 senses. We have touch, sight, hearing, sound, breathing. These are all our 5 senses, and they're important to know, especially when you do mindfulness, because you can use them as a focus. Okay. So we'll begin again. I'd like everybody to again get comfortable. If you need to take a sip of water, now's a good time. If you have any computers or audio, maybe turn them off, except this one, obviously, of course. And be in a room where you're really focused on yourself, really focused on this practice. Okay, so I'll give everybody a moment to maybe get comfortable. Have a sip of water. I'm just getting over a cold, so my voice is sort of coming back. So I'm a little bit raspy today. So when you're ready, I'd like everybody to go ahead and close their eyes. And again, bring your attention to your breathing process. Simply notice your breath. You don't want to attempt to change your breath in any way. You want to just breathe normally. So I'd like you to try to notice both the in-breath and the out-breath, the inhale and the exhale. When I say notice, I mean to actually feel the breathing in your body. You don't need to visualize the breath. I'd like you to just feel the breath as you inhale and as you exhale. And anytime your attention wanders from the act of breathing, just return it back to the breath. The mind will wander. That is normal. And every time that happens, just bring your attention back to the breath, the inhale and the exhale. Now, if at this point your eyes are open, they don't need to be, they can remain closed. I'd like you to visualize sight. What do you visualize around you in the room? Bring the attention to the sense of sight. If you should see something unpleasant, bring your attention back to sight and focus in on something pleasant. All the time you're thinking about the sense of sight, you're coming back to the breath, breathing in and breathing out. Now I'd like you to bring your attention to the sense of smell. Maybe as you breathe in and out, the smell of the room, If you don't feel there's any particular smell that you breathe, you may want to bring yourself back to sight and visualize something that will bring the sense of smell in. Might be something like a blueberry muffin, or a particular food you may like, or maybe a tree, flower. So now you're working in coordination with sight and smell. Your mind should be on sight and smell. If it's not, come back to the breath. Bring your attention back to the breath and think of something and smell something that is pleasant. Take in that fragrance as you breathe in and as you breathe out. The smell should be pleasant. As you breathe in and breathe out. Now I'd like you to bring your attention to the sense of hearing. Other than my voice, what do you hear in the room? It could just truly be the sound of silence, something that we don't focus in on much. If you don't want to focus in on silence, you may bring a musical tune to your mind or a sound that is pleasant to you, such as the sound of the ocean, the sound of a baby cooing, your cat purring. Think of a sound that is pleasant. And focus in and pay attention to that sound. If your mind should wander, come back to the breath, focus in on the inhale and the exhale, and then come back to the sense of hearing. What are you hearing at this moment? Let's just focus in on that for a few seconds. Now I'd like you to bring your attention to your sense of taste. As you bring your attention to the sense of taste, you may feel the need to maybe lick your lips. Maybe it's something you've eaten recently that still brings a pleasant taste to your mouth. Maybe it's something you ate yesterday. Or possibly just the sense of taste of what the mouth truly feels like. Focus in on that sense of taste. Now I'd like you to bring your attention to the sense of touch. Maybe you're feeling your hands on your thighs, the touch of your finger, how it feels on your legs, your feet on the floor, your back against the chair, your buttocks on the chair. Feel what the sense of touch is like. I would like you to just take a moment as we go through the five senses and remember the things that you felt, the sight, or you can bring in a new vision, even if you'd like, that sense of sight. The sense of smell. What do you remember? Your sense of hearing. Your sense of taste. And your sense of touch. All these should be pleasant senses that come to mind. But remember to really feel into the act of breathing. Each time your attention wanders from the act of breathing, return it to noticing the breath. Notice how the air feels moving through your nostrils, both on the in-breath and the out-breath. Notice how the air feels as it fills and empties your chest cavity. Feel how your rib cage rises slowly with each in-breath and gently deflates with each out-breath. Notice how your back expands and contracts with each breath. Actually feel your back as it shifts and changes as you breathe. Notice how the belly expands outward with each in-breath and pulls inward with each breath. Allow your attention to fully enter the body sensation of the belly, moving with each breath. Now, allow your attention to cover your entire body at once as you breathe in and out. Closely notice all the sensations of the body as it breathes. When you practice mindfulness and meditation, you can better deal with stress and anxiety. Notice all the sensations of the body. Your body at this time should feel softer, lighter. Each time your attention wanders from the act of breathing, return it to noticing the breath. Do this gently. Remember to really feel into the act of breathing. If you can, try to maintain your eyes closed. If your mind wanders, come back to the act of breathing. Pay attention to the in-breath and the out-breath. Breathe in slowly and breathe out slowly. Continue to practice mindful breathing for a few moments, coming back to the breath if your mind should wander. Bring your full attention to the sensation of the inhale and the exhale. Breathe in slowly, breathe out slowly. Continue the practice of mindful breathing. You can slowly open your eyes whenever you're ready. Open your eyes slowly. You can begin to slowly open your eyes. You may feel the need to take a deep breath, shift your position in your chair, but remain still in your chair. Don't get up quite yet. If you have water nearby, you may want to take a sip of water. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes. What we've all done with this short practice is elicit what is known as the relaxation response in the body. And you've done your body a tremendous favor in the last 15 minutes or so. You've deactivated some of those chemicals, adrenaline, cortisol, that can cause damage over time. Probably increase your oxygen consumption just with this slow breathing and bringing in more oxygen. And just by slowing down, that's all we really did here, is slow down, pay attention to the five senses, be mindful, be in present moment. We've deactivated that fight or flight response, which usually doesn't serve us well most times in our lives. So Leslie, if I could get you back here, maybe you can open this up for anybody to have any comments or want to ask any questions.
Thank you so much, Susan. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Does anyone have, if you do have a question, feel free to either unmute yourself or you could message me in a private message in the chat. And but we all thank you all for joining us today. And thank you so much for your time, Susan. This was wonderful. And I'm thinking that everyone's feeling just as relaxed as I am right now.
This is why the practice of meditation is such a great practice in daily practice, because, it really only takes 10 or 15 minutes of your day. Whether you do it in the morning, I don't really recommend doing it in the evening, although it's fine if that's what works for you. In the middle of the day, it's like this, it's wonderful. If you can sit back and just, I love this practice, the five senses practice. It's a simple practice. It makes you focus in on your body, and all the things that are important. Very simple. You could even do it in your own mind, talk yourself through it. And it takes you away from the mind wandering because you're focusing on sight or smell, or there's always something great to focus in, touch, whatever. And it's basically a reset. And that's the thing. We're resetting the body. You have all this stress all day at work, your family, your disease, a million things are going on in life. And you just give your body that 10 or 15 minutes. It's a huge reset. And right now, a lot of us are feeling, I'm really whatever. I'm really relaxed. How am I going to get up from this? But you're going to notice in a half hour. So there's my dog. I'm so glad she didn't bark during this. In a half hour or so, you're going to notice a burst of energy, or maybe even sooner, because you've given your body that time to really slow down and relax. And it's basically like you've given yourself a charge. And that's the great thing about meditation. You're gonna feel, wow, I'm gonna accomplish so much in about a half hour, because your body is kind of just, it's like when you wake up in the morning, you have all that energy. Most of us, sometimes we don't, but you have a lot more energy, and that's how you're gonna feel shortly. Don't drink coffee, don't drink tea, you're not gonna need caffeine. So I really enjoy doing this practice. It's simple, easy to do. Thank you for your comments. Very nice. Next month, Leslie, I guess you'll give us the dates. We're going to do a practice specifically focused to pain and ways that meditation can help relieve pain. Now, when we talk about pain, obviously nothing's going to be like quick. You're not going to do one meditation, your pain's going to go away. But there's a lot of scientific studies, because pain is also a physiological response. to whatever it is, to your disease, to, or if you burn yourself, whatever. It's a physiological response again. And I'll talk a lot more about this on the next class, and ways that we can use mindfulness and meditation daily to decrease pain and to help us. And it may help you for a half hour, but that's a half hour without having that pain. And the more you do it, the more you're going to notice that you can actually elicit, just as we did here, a relaxation response. You can elicit a response that will help you decrease pain. So, it's not a cure-all, and nothing really is. I mean, unless you were to really zonk yourself out with meds. And that's the whole point. We don't want to do that. Maybe you do have to take medication for pain, but maybe you have to take less. If you can learn to elicit a relaxation response, which is also going to affect the nerve receptors for pain, much in the way we do for stress. So, I mean, I don't see meditation like as a cure-all for everything. And I want to make that very clear. It's a holistic approach along with a medical approach. The whole East-West philosophy. We take our meds, we go to the doctor, but what can we do on the side to potentiate that, that healing response? So you can exercise, have a good diet, limit your alcohol, limit caffeine, use meditation, use Qigong. A lot of therapies use regular exercise, but meditation is an easy thing to do. 10 minutes of your day, boom, you're done. And you've elicited this great response for stress and for many other factors.
Susan, hi, this is Mary. Thank you so
Hi,
much
Mary.
for doing this today. You're a superstar for FSR and helping everybody with mindfulness and stress. So thank you for all that you're doing. I have a question about, and I know with your nursing background, particularly in the cardiovascular space, can you talk a little bit about blood pressure and meditation and mindfulness? I'm sure there have been studies about, how this impacts blood pressure, at least immediately during the practice and shortly after. And then if you do it long term, are there studies perhaps that look at that in terms of helping people with, blood pressure?
Sure. I mean, that's a great question, Mary. So thanks. So what happens when you have stress? I mean, physiologically, the cardiovascular system is really affected. You have heart rate increase, and you have faster, deeper breathing. You have increased blood pressure. That's scientifically known. Anybody that's under stress, you can take their blood pressure and you can see it'll be 20, 30, 40, 50 points higher than it would normally be at the early in the day. So you have a whole cardio and thoracic response, the lungs and heart specifically, along with the stress response, the endocrine system. But talking about cardiac, you have this really amazing response to stress. Immediately, you're going to have higher blood pressure, higher heart rate, higher oxygen consumption. So the minute you elicit and this has been known since it was his doctor, his name was Herbert Benson, I think in the early 60s or 70s. He was actually the person who started this whole relaxation response in the cardiology field. And I was lucky to see him in a lecture many years ago, probably like 30 years ago. I'm sure he's died by then. He was old then, but he was amazing. And that was my first exposure to this whole stress response in cardiology. But you can take that same cardiology component, use it in every component of the body. And so what happens when you elicit you elicit the relaxation response, almost immediately you're going to see heart rate decrease, blood pressure decrease in adrenaline, and many other hormones that happen in the body that would, not be beneficial. So, what I did, and I think I've told Mary this story before, when I used to teach meditation in the community, since I'm a nurse, I would ask anybody, do you want your blood pressure? Before I would take it, and some would say, that's my normal. Some would be high, some whatever. And then I would make sure to take those same people's blood pressure after a meditation. And I tell you, I've done thousands of these, and I never, not once, even once, did I ever see somebody that their blood pressure did not come down. So, and that's just anecdotal, but if you look at scientific research, you see it. It's there. There's no doubt that happens. I think one of the biggest things in mindfulness and meditation that we've learned probably in the last 5 or 10 years is this whole activation of what's called the vagus nerve. That nerve, cranial nerve number 10, that runs from the brainstem all the way to the stomach. And for me, stress always ends up in my stomach. I always have digestive problems, whatever. And a lot of people have this. So when you learn to deactivate that sympathetic nervous system, and that's part of the vagus nerve, your stomach almost immediately calms down. You have less diarrhea, constipation, GERD, whatever. So, Mary, this is like such an incredible question. Everything with the deactivation of the stress response will help beneficially in health. Everything, 100% of the time, any system in the body. So when we talk about sarcoid, which is an unknown disease, obviously, but we do know scientifically it's an immune mediated response. Something's causing the immune system to be, I don't know, overreactive, quote unquote. So just by doing meditation, we are targeting that response. So can't hurt, obviously. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I figured it would be something like that where you would see the blood pressure. It's interesting what you were saying about the test that you did before and after the blood pressure and how you've always seen it go down. And so yeah, right. So important to do and to be cognizant of that. And anyway, thank you for that great answer.
No, you're welcome. It's good to have you here, Mary. Thank you. Those of you who don't know, Mary's the CEO for FSR. So we're super happy to have her here and helping us kind of further the cause of sarcoid research and all the amazing initiatives they do at FSR. This is an amazing organization, and I think we could all agree to that. And yeah, it's been amazing to work with the organization. I love it.
Well, again, thank you, Susan, for all that you're doing. And thank you, everybody, for being here with us today. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question? We have a couple more minutes left. I thank you for all your beautiful comments. I read these comments and I'm really humbled, I have to say. So thank you, everyone. And it's really a joy to do this. There's no other way for me to say this. It's a joy.
Susan, just to comment on the next session that you are doing, the date is still to be decided, but it will be in August with the focus on pain. And we will make sure to send everyone that date. So we hope to see everyone there again. So we'll send that date out as soon as we know for sure what day in August that is. And also just a reminder to everyone that this session was recorded, and we will be sending it out to all of our audience in the next day or so. So you'll be able to do your meditations through this again, and we're really appreciative of your time and support of FSR.
Thank you, Leslie. And one last thing, if anybody, I know people talked about doing a session for stress, which we did today, and now for pain, which was a great idea. But after that, if anybody wants to focus on anything particular, we can do meditations for fears, mental health is for me a big one. I think we maybe need to do something, fears, anxieties in the future, but I want you guys to direct where you would like the focus to be. Every one of you has a different issue, send it to Mindy or Leslie and let them know. And I'm glad to do it. And whatever the focus is, it's fine. It's all great.
Yes, that would be great. If anyone has any thoughts or suggestions in the direction it would want to go, feel free to, again, I know everyone probably has Mindy's email address, but you're welcome to email me as well. But we're really looking forward to more sessions just like this.
So just in closing, one thing I want to say, and like I said, meditation is a practice. It's much like any other practice, whether you exercise or you have you follow a Mediterranean diet or whatever it is you do in your daily life. I'm not saying you need to meditate every day, 7 days a week, because it does take time to get there. Even for me, it took me almost 2 years, but I do meditate every day now. I would strongly encourage that you do at least the mindful breath. If you're having stress or chaos or whatever it is, just pause and do the breath. Pay attention to the breath. And if you can, listen to the videos that are on FSR, listen to this one, listen to the series. If you want to go on an app, there's tons of apps out there. I'll give you 3 right off the bat: Insight Timer, Headspace, Calm. There's, you can Google, meditation apps and choose your own. And you can go on there, kind of explore different meditation teachers. Some voices resonate, others don't. So it does take some time, but I do recommend that you at least do this a couple times a week. 2 or 3 times a week would be good to start your practice. So thanks again, everybody, for being here. You're going to see your energy boost soon. I'm starting to feel it a little bit. And I think you'll have a great afternoon, I hope. So thank you again.
Really quick, Susan,
Sure.
I think Janie has her hand up. I don't know. Janie, do you want to unmute yourself?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Hi. I really enjoyed this, and this was great. I've always wanted to learn how to meditate because I carry stress like I'm carrying a purse. And but the question I have is relating back to different techniques of meditation. I had a friend one time who took a course in meditation, and then we were talking about it. And she just simply said to me, she said, just try to focus on something that relaxes you. And my youngest son was still a kid. I got grown men now. And one of his class projects, he made a wind chime, but they had crepe paper hanging from it. So, you hang up your kids' projects, and I had kind of attached his to my ceiling fan in my bedroom. And I turned it on, and at night, the crepe paper rustling together reminded me of, see, I'm from the South, of when the leaves hit the ground and the wind blows, and that sound is so relaxing to me. So until I get this technique that you just showed us down, is that something that really works as well?
Well, it's kind of what we did today. We did the 5 senses technique, but you always come back to the breath. So you could take that technique that you're saying is really more about sound. And just do sound and breath. Breath is always the anchor, though. Okay. No matter what meditation you do, that is the anchor. So if you were to, let's say, listen to chimes, I love chimes. So if you were to listen to chimes and that really makes you relax, that's great. But there's always a time that the mind wanders. That is the job of the mind. When your mind stops wondering, it's pretty much it. But so when the mind begins to wander, even with the sound, you start noticing, the sounds in the background. But now I'm thinking about, what I got to cook to dinner or what I got to do next. Then you come back to the breath. And you focus on the breath. Then you come back to the sound. And as long as you can stay in that sound and breath, you're really doing a great practice. You're taking the 5 senses practice and doing a 1 sense, basically. Well, 2, sound and breath. So that is beautiful. I think, that's a great thing to do. If sight is, I'm looking at Linda here with her picture, and she's got the beach in the background. Oh, I'm from Miami, so for me, I'm looking at her background, and that's making me relax. So if I were to just focus on the sound of the beach or the side of the beach with breath, that's enough. So yeah, that I think that's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm in a northern state now and been for years, and I just doesn't hit the same way it does when I was in the South. And when I sit there and I get relaxed like that, then it reminds me of my childhood
Oh, nice.
and that carefree moment. So I'm really relaxing then.
So without even knowing it, even what you're saying, you're using all your senses because it's reminding you of your
Mm-hmm.
childhood. You know, you probably smells the leaves on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
without even knowing it, using that one sense of sound, you're
Mm-hmm.
really activating, because it's impossible. And I'll tell you, it's just the way the body works physiologically to only have one sense at a time. So
Right.
the minute you activate sound, you're going to activate sight, you're going to activate smell, so you're, no matter what, you're activating all your senses. So,
Okay.
yeah, so don't even think that you're not doing it, because you are, no matter
Okay.
what,
Well, thanks a lot.
in a very simplistic form. So that's a wonderful question.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I enjoyed the session, everyone. Have a great afternoon. I don't want to keep you behind, over the time. If there's not any other questions, I'll let you guys go. But Linda, I love your background, I have to say.
Thank you, Susan.
All right,
Thanks everyone
Leslie.
for coming.
All right.
Thank
Thank you very much. Everybody have a great afternoon.
you. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.